Hosted by you/throwaway WW24. My 35M friend Bree, 35F, just told me she loves me 4 weeks before her marriage, and I am not sure what I am supposed to do here. I want to know if I am doing the right thing. To give some context, I lost my wife 2 years ago. I have a 5-year-old daughter. I have not dated in the last 2 years because I have major trauma from losing my wife. I still love her a lot and don't think I am ready to move on. I have invested all my time in my daughter, who looks exactly like her mother, and my work to keep my sanity over the last 2 years. I have been friends with Bree since we were in elementary school. We lived in the same neighborhood growing up and were best friends. She is an awesome person, and we were inseparable growing up. The weirdest part was that we had completely different personalities. She was very outgoing and always had a lot of friends. I am a big introvert, and Bree, along with a few friends, was all I needed. Bree was a serial dater, and I don't remember any time since middle school when she was single. Bree and I never dated, though. Bree and I also went to the same college. She never had a stable boyfriend but just jumped from one relationship to another. I, on the other hand, did not date seriously until my junior year. When I met my wife, she was a freshman, and we hit it off instantly. We fell for each other and spent all our time together. This strained my relationship with Bree, as I would generally hang out with my wife instead of her. That was the time Bree and I slowly started drifting apart. After college, I moved to a different town for my job, and Bree and I occasionally messaged each other, but nothing beyond that. Bree attended my wedding, and that was the last time I saw her. We kept in touch, but mostly by commenting on each other's pictures or keeping each other updated on significant life events. Bree did reach out to me when my wife passed away, and we talked on a phone call. Last year, Bree and her fiancé moved to my city. I was still grieving, and both of them have been an amazing support for me and my daughter. My daughter loves dancing, and Bree helped me enroll her in dance and gymnastics classes and sometimes takes her to them. I also became good friends with her fiancé, who is indeed an incredibly good man. My daughter also loves Auntie Bree, and Bree sometimes helps me babysit. Last week, Bree came to my house and asked if we could talk. Her tone sounded serious. She told me that over the last few months, she feels like she has started to develop feelings for me and is not sure anymore if she wants to go ahead with the wedding. She felt I also had started developing feelings for her. I told her that I am not ready for any relationship before I can deal with my mental health, for which I go to a therapist regularly. She tried to convince me that she loved me, that we are soulmates, and that she felt we were meant to be together. However, I do not have the same feelings for her. I love her as a friend, but nothing beyond that. We were both emotional, but she said she was glad we talked about this. She left after that. Bree called me that night and told me not to talk about our conversation with anyone. I thought a lot about it and decided that I would not tell her fiancé about my and Bree's conversation from last week. I feel it's their relationship, and I do not have the right to ruin their moment if Bree decides to go ahead with the wedding. However, I feel guilty that her fiancé does not know anything about this and is going into a marriage where Bree might not be fully ready for it. Can you guys give suggestions on what I should do in this case? Am I wrong for not telling her fiancé about our conversation? Update 27 days later. A month ago, I, 35M, wrote a post about my friend Bree, 35F, telling me she loved me just 4 weeks before her wedding. The past month has been crazy, and my whole world has turned upside down. For context, I lost my wife 2 years ago, and we have a 5-year-old daughter. Bree and her fiancé Jason, 33M, moved to our town a year ago. We reconnected as friends, and they've done a lot to cheer me up this past year and help me return to a sense of normalcy. After Bree told me she loved me, I told her I wasn't ready to move on because I still miss my wife. She said she understood, and I didn't hear from her or Jason for a few days. The guilt was eating away at me because I wasn't sure if I should tell Jason what she had said. Thanks to everyone who commented on my previous post, your advice helped me think through the situation. I finally called Bree after a few days and asked her to meet me for lunch. I asked if she was going ahead with her wedding. She broke down and told me she wasn't sure. I told her she should at least talk to Jason about her feelings and not be dishonest with him. I also assured her I wouldn't say anything to Jason, but I just wanted her to be happy. She said she understood and left. That night, I put my daughter to bed and was watching TV. Around 9:30 p.m., I heard a loud knock on my door. It was Jason. When I opened the door, he was in tears. He started yelling at me, asking why I had to steal Bree of all people. I tried to calm him down, but he just kept shouting. I was trying to get him to sit on the bench on our porch and told him my daughter was sleeping upstairs. However, he was getting more and more physical. He punched me in the face, and I was able to push him off. I told him to leave my house, and he sat in his truck and drove away. I immediately called Bree, and she was crying and didn't sound well. She told Jason she couldn't marry him because she had feelings for me. After the physical altercation with Jason, I was really scared for her. I told her to gather some clothes and get out of the house. She did and came to my place. I didn't feel she was safe with Jason. I consoled her for almost 2 hours and eventually got her to sleep. The next morning, we called her parents to let them know what had happened. Bree kept a brave face, but I could see how much she was hurting. Her parents asked her to take a few days off and come home immediately. She flew out that evening. Over the next 2 weeks, the wedding was called off. Bree and I spoke every day, and she was exhausted. She talked to Jason a few times, and he kept asking her to take more time to think things through. However, I think Bree just wanted to move on and decided to break it off with Jason. Bree has been staying with us for the past 2 weeks. She still has a job here and went back to work last week. We've talked in detail about what happened. Bree told me she and Jason had been dating on and off for the past 4 years. Jason isn't very career-oriented, while Bree is excellent at her job. She felt he was a nice and reliable person but had doubts about him from the beginning. She felt she wasn't getting any younger, so they decided to get married. When she heard about my wife passing away, she felt really bad and wanted to be there for me. When she got a big promotion that allowed her to work in a corporate office, she chose my city and moved here. Jason moved with her and got a new job. She said she didn't have romantic feelings for me back then. But as she started spending time with my daughter and me, she began feeling the bond we used to share growing up. Except now, I was the broken one, and she was taking care of me. She realized she enjoyed her time with us more than with Jason. She admitted she made a mistake with Jason and that what she wanted had been right in front of her all along. Over time, she started thinking about me in that way and eventually confessed. She said she knew her relationship with Jason was over the moment she told me how she felt. It's a messy situation, but I'm glad she realized this before getting married rather than after. As for Jason, I feel bad for him. He's moving back to our hometown to be closer to his family. He's still in their apartment but plans to move next month. I know many of you are curious if Bree and I are dating. We're not. I don't think I can date anyone right now, and neither should Bree. She's my friend, and I'm happy she's staying with us until everything is sorted out. My daughter loves having Auntie Bree around too, so that's a bonus. Plus, it's nice to see her slowly get back to normal. Thanks again for your support during my last post. Cheers. Second update 8.5 months later. I wrote a post 9 months ago about my friend Bree telling me that she loved me a few weeks before she was supposed to get married. For context, I lost my wife 3 years ago, and we have a 6-year-old daughter. Bree and her fiancé, Jason, moved to our town a year ago, and Bree confessed her feelings for me just weeks before her wedding. Things went south quickly, and Bree ended up breaking up with Jason and canceling the wedding. She was staying with us when I last shared an update. I think the story was picked up by some popular YouTube channels, and people have been messaging me to find out what happened afterward. I wanted to maintain our privacy, especially since many of our family members saw the video and recognized my post. They didn't know that Jason had assaulted me, and I had to assure everyone that we were safe and okay. I'm feeling particularly happy this week, so I thought I would share an update. Firstly, the reason Bree moved in with us while Jason was still in town was that I had a temporary restraining order against him. Bree also filed for one but was denied, as he had never directly threatened her safety. She said she felt secure with us because of the TRO, and I agreed. Jason didn't cause any issues after that, though he continued texting Bree, asking her to work on their relationship. Eventually, he moved back to our hometown in February, and we haven't heard from him since. Bree got her own apartment once Jason left town, but she remained very much a part of our daily lives. I enjoyed having her around, and my daughter loves her. In April, Bree brought up the idea of us dating again. I explained that I wasn't over my wife's death and didn't want to be unfair to her because I still love my late wife deeply. Bree told me she knew she could never replace my wife, nor did she want to. She shared a beautiful analogy. She said my heart is like a big pot. It holds a lot of love for my late wife, but it also made room for more love when my daughter was born. Loving her wouldn't erase my love for my wife or daughter, it would simply mean there's more room in my heart than I realized. I took a month to think it over, talking to my mom and mother-in-law, my late wife's mom, who both encouraged me to give a relationship with Bree a chance. We officially started dating in May, and it's been surprising how quickly we fell in love. I think the strong foundation of our friendship helped a lot. The last 6 months have been amazing, and I've never seen my daughter so happy. She's a big chatterbox now and insists that Bree comes to all her school events and recitals. Sometimes, I feel a little jealous of their bond and even a bit left out of their little chats. The reason I'm writing this update is that I'm planning to propose to Bree this Christmas. It's not a surprise proposal. We went engagement ring shopping last weekend and finalized the ring. We also have wedding plans for next summer. I know it seems quick, but I can't imagine spending the rest of my life with anyone else. Bree deserves to officially be part of our family. My daughter is thrilled, and she and Bree are already shopping for dresses for the engagement photo shoot. Our families couldn't be happier, and we plan to get engaged at a small gathering of family and friends over Christmas weekend in our hometown. I know some people judged me for taking Bree in after she left Jason, and others judged her for leaving him at the altar. Life isn't easy, trust me, and things don't always go as planned. But I'm grateful Bree found the courage to tell me how she felt back then. Thank you all again for your support on my last post.